Rudy Giuliani is disbarred in New York for spreading Donald Trump's 2020 election lies. The former New York City mayor had no good faith basis to believe lies about widespread voter fraud.
As you come on to the page, kindly hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. And don't forget to put on the notification bell so you can be notified when I drop the next video. Thank you.
Washington. Rudy Giuliani, the disgraced former New York City mayor who tried to overturn former President Donald Trump's election loss, was disbarred in the state of New York on Tuesday, yet another repercussion for the team that spread lies about mass voter fraud after Joe Biden's 2020 presidential victory. Giuliani, who is facing charges in Georgia and Arizona and is an unindicted co-conspirator in the federal election interference case brought against Trump by special counsel Jack Smith, had no good faith basis to believe the lies he spread about the election, according to an order entered Tuesday. Some of the false statements cited by a New York appeals court were comments Giuliani made during a post-election press conference at Four Seasons Total Landscaping, which took place at the same time that some new outlets called the election for Biden. These false statements were made to improperly bolster respondents' narrative that due to widespread voter fraud, victory in the 2020 United States presidential election was stolen from his client, the decision from a New York appeals court read. Giuliani has arguably faced much wider repercussions for his efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election than Trump himself. He also faces disbarment in Washington, where the D.C. Bar's Board of Professional Responsibility recently recommended that Giuliani be disbarred. Strickland went on to note Giuliani's bookkeeper is ill, while his accountant quit. "Those are huge red flags that warrant that adult supervision," she said. Rachel Biblo-Block, an attorney representing the Unsecured Creditors Committee, said Giuliani's gross mismanagement of his financial affairs necessitates the appointment of a trustee to take control. She also raised Giuliani's apparent failure to rein in his spending, pointing to $26,000 in credit card payments and more than 50 Amazon transactions since filing for bankruptcy. Giuliani's attorney, Gary Fishoff, acknowledged his client's past shortcomings, including late reports and improper credit card spending. But Fishoff attempted to fend off the motion by insisting the situation is improving. The credit cards have since been canceled, and an accounting professional has newly expressed interest in coming aboard, he noted. "I understand that it has taken some time, but what's important is the debtor has been paying these expenses not with creditors' money, with his own money," Fishoff said. "How do I know that?" The judge shot back, referencing creditors' concerns about transparency into the finances of Giuliani's companies. In May, Giuliani was suspended by WABC Radio and had his show canceled for continuing to make false statements about the 2020 election, which could have potentially opened the station up to legal liability. Two Georgia poll workers, Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, were awarded $148 million by a jury after a federal judge found Giuliani liable for falsely accusing them of election fraud, allegations which had zero factual basis. Because of surveillance video that had spurred conspiracy theorists online, Giuliani had falsely accused the mother-daughter duo of passing around USB drives, like vials of heroin or cocaine, when, in fact, they were passing a ginger mint. The allegations set off a wave of racist attacks and threats against the pair. In the course of the New York disciplinary case, Giuliani stipulated to the reality that there were not, in fact, many thousands of votes cast in the names of dead people in Philadelphia during the 2020 election, as he'd previously falsely claimed. The referee overseeing the proceedings, the order noted, found 16 acts of falsehoods carried out by Giuliani were deliberate and constituted a transparent pattern of conduct intended and designed to deceive. Fishoff also argued a full evidentiary hearing was needed before approving creditors' contested motion, saying all the creditors had was a nice presentation. Fishoff even raised the possibility of Giuliani himself testifying. "I think, perhaps, the debtor needed to take the stand," Fishoff said. Giuliani joined Monday's hearing virtually, while many of the attorneys appeared in person in the White Plains, NY, courtroom. Moments before it concluded, Giuliani went live on his daily online show. Even if Giuliani's desire to remain in control of his finances survives his creditor's takeover attempt, it may not be his only obstacle to proceeding with his bankruptcy process. The decision also accused Giuliani of attempting to deceive officials during the disciplinary process. Mr. Giuliani is obviously disappointed in the decision, an attorney for Giuliani said in a statement. "We are weighing our appellate options."
Allies of former President Donald Trump pled not guilty in Arizona yesterday. They're accused in an alleged plot to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in that state. Those charged included Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani. Giuliani was ordered to post a $10,000 bail and come to Arizona for booking within 30 days. 10 others also pled not guilty to conspiracy, forgery, and fraud charges. Several of those charged in the Arizona case have also been arraigned on similar charges in Georgia.
Moments after arguments on the issue concluded, an attorney with the Justice Department's bankruptcy watchdog arm expressed concerns that Giuliani has not yet sought his bankruptcy judge's approval to retain attorneys actively representing him in his Georgia criminal case and a civil lawsuit Giuliani filed against President Biden. We're actually close to filing a motion to dismiss or convert the case, because all of these things that are going on here are extremely problematic, said Andrea Schwartz, the attorney. The office had not taken a position on creditors' request for an independent trustee other than raising a few concerns about the proposal's phrasing. Bankruptcy judge weighs stripping Giuliani's control of his finances. The former New York City mayor's finances have been put on full display since his bankruptcy filing, exposing hundreds of thousands of dollars in unpaid taxes and credit card debt, on top of the millions of dollars he could owe in outstanding litigation. Beyond the election workers case, Giuliani could owe more than $3.5 million if outstanding lawsuits are resolved against him, in addition to the unknown claims of litigants in several other lawsuits. That includes lawsuits stemming from Giuliani's 2020 election fraud claims against voting software companies Dominion Voting Systems and Smartmatic. The president's son, Hunter Biden, another creditor, in recent days agreed to drop his lawsuit against Giuliani after the bankruptcy case stalled its progress. Giuliani's creditors attempted to persuade a bankruptcy judge to appoint a trustee to take control of the former New York City mayor's finances Monday. Following more than 2 hours of arguments, U.S. Bankruptcy Judge Sean Lane made no ruling on the creditors' request but expressed worry about multiple aspects of the case, including financial reporting issues and Giuliani's struggle to keep an active bookkeeper and accountant. There are reasons to be very concerned here. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, Lane said just before adjourning the hearing. Giuliani filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in December after a staggering $148 million verdict against him in a defamation case brought by 2 Georgia election workers whom he baselessly accused of 2020 election fraud. Though the election workers believe their award can't be discharged in bankruptcy, Chapter 11 has enabled the former mayor to remain in control of his assets. Monday's hearing marked the culmination of months of rising tensions between Giuliani and his creditors, who have accused the former Trump attorney of obscuring his finances and contend his bankruptcy is nothing more than a delay tactic. He's not a doddering 80-year-old. He is a shrewd and manipulative man. His reports are false, inconsistent and late. His deadlines are ignored, Rachel Strickland, the election workers' attorney, told Lane at Monday's hearing. The next hearing in Giuliani's bankruptcy is scheduled for July 10th. When attorneys for the creditors are expected to argue a motion to compel discovery that Giuliani has not yet turned over despite lapsed deadlines. They also expect to seek sanctions on the ex-mayor. I'm not surprised to hear that, Lane said.
As you leave the page, don't forget to hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thank you for watching.